Hey, Soca lovers, welcome back to the Rant and Rave podcast. This is episode 7 of season 6. And this series, we are talking about the return. In this episode, I am being joined by a guest speaker. You'll notice Soca Say-So is not here, so I have a guest host with me. We are talking about the return of Caribbean film. Yes, give it up for Caribbean film, no fake accents, real Caribbean actors. And so I am joined by Alysia Christiani of Third Horizon. Say hello to the people then, Alysia.
What's up? What's up? How y'all doing? I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Normally this podcast is hosted by a Grenadian and a Guyanese, but today I stacked the deck. I got another Guyanese on this with me.
But extra spiciness for you.
Extra chow mein, extra choka.
A little mango achar right on the top there.
You know, a little cook up rice. Yeah, you know, a little pine tart and thing. Anyway.
Get me hungry now. Stop.
But Alysia, okay, so we've had you on the podcast before, so you're a friend to the podcast, but I wanted to bring you back because I have been missing Caribbean film. We see it too many times in mainstream movies. They get some actor who does a horrible West Indian accent. And of course, according to Hollywood, everybody is Jamaican. So I am excited to see that you are bringing back Caribbean film to BAM, to Brooklyn Academy of Music. But first, tell the people a little bit about Third Horizon and your role with the team.
Sure. So Third Horizon is an award-winning filmmaking collective. I'm the assistant director of community engagement, basically going out there and helping to the communities know more about what we do and get events produced so that they can experience the films that we exhibit, produce, develop, and basically our reason for being is to shine a light on Caribbean film, for filmmakers, the industry. We develop, we produce, we distribute, we assist up and coming emerging filmmakers who are of Caribbean descent, are actually Caribbean or in the diaspora. So that's why we are here. We love film, we love Caribbean film in particular, and we're just here to help shine a light and help grow that industry.
Representation. I'm with it. We need it. We definitely need it.
We do, because I mean, we're out there, you know, as Caribbean people are everywhere. And so we're in the industry, but I think like quietly, like there's a lot of times you don't know people are, and the stories, at least in mainstream media, you're not really going to see Caribbean stories. So it's important that we have organizations, collectives, individuals who are working to actively elevate our stories, and individuals who are working in the industry.
Nice. And I've seen some of the premieres, some of the film showings that you guys have had. I've seen them in Guyana. I've seen them in Brooklyn. And y'all serve food, so that's what's up. And then I've also been to them at BAM, where you also have the kind of Q&A with the directors or producers. Mm-hmm. But what are some of the more exciting events that you've put on that you want to just like give a shout out to right now?
Well, I think our flagship event is the Third Horizon Film Festival, which happens yearly in Miami. So Third Horizon was an existing film collective in Miami, and then Caribbean Film Academy was a collective here in Brooklyn. And over a couple of years, we just kept like circling each other in the industry at festivals, and our executive directors of each group realized we're working in accord. We have the same goal. Let's, combine and, like Voltron and make an even bigger impact than we could individually. So we've recently merged and are officially Third Horizon. And so our flagship festival, Third Horizon Film Festival, which is happening this June 23rd to 26th in Miami, and hybrid as well, because, pandemic has changed the way we do things. And that's our like main gig. And it was actually voted by Movie Maker magazine one of the 25 coolest festivals in the world. which I love because we try to do different things. It's not just about putting a butt in a seat and watching a movie and having a Q&A. Like, that's like basic, that's standard.
Mhm.
And we elevate that to include panel discussions with people who are like just super interesting and different, and not just your regular party, but DJs and musical guests that are a little off the beaten path that represent different parts of the Caribbean. Or like one year we did something I'd never heard of. There's something called Rara in Haiti. So we had a Rara parade.
Oh.
It was something new I learned. So we're in the streets of Miami with this Rara band, which is kind of reminiscent of, when you're chipping in Carnival,
Mhm.
and then people just kind of join you, and it's just kind of organic, and we're making our way, and then we finally get to this party that features French Caribbean music. Like, we do the coolest things at this festival. So if you can get there, no, seriously, like if you can get there, you should get there. And even our hybrid version, we're going to try to make a little more, you don't just log into Zoom and watch a movie. We're trying to elevate that experience as well. So we do try to come at things from a different angle, to give people a fuller experience. So that, I would say, is one of our coolest, most successful events.
Nice. I love the idea of the Rah Rah band. And that totally makes sense with why we have 2 Haitian trucks on the parkway usually.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not new to them. They do this. I love it that it's incorporated. I love it that you're representing so many parts of the Caribbean, Anglophonic, Francophonic, you're merging everyone, making sure there's representation. That's super dope. But tell them a little more about the hybrid, because for those who haven't heard that term, what's the hybrid experience for someone trying to get involved with the festival?
Right. So because of the pandemic, I think last year was the first time we went back in person again, but because of the pandemic, all of our events had to be online. So, everyone, the world quickly got Zoom fatigue. So we had to try, we're trying to figure out ways to elevate the experience and not just have it be a mirror of what's happening, when you go in person. You want to offer something different to the online audience, something a little special. So when you're on your couch, you don't feel like you're just watching Netflix, but you're actually taking part in the experience. So I don't want to give things away. I can't tell about everything.
How to get an exclusive.
But there are some things that a hybrid pass will allow you that, help to give a more personalized experience more. And if you go on our website, thirdhorizonfilmfestival.com, there's a breakdown of the different types of passes and things that you can get. We're still working through some things. So part of the reason I can't tell you is because we still, confirming how some things are going to go. But yeah, we want to make sure that everyone, whether you're in person or whether you're online, tuning in from Barbados in your living room, you can have a full Third Horizon experience.
That's what's up. And that's important for people. I know for me, like being able to see my people, see my food, see my, my culture represented for real. How important do you think this is for Caribbean people who are not living in the Caribbean? They need that connection to culture. How important is this for those of us abroad?
I think it's huge. I think, so I feel like there are various aspects, how they always say, Black people aren't a monolith, Caribbean people aren't a monolith, right? So within, you have Native Caribbean people who are living in the region, and then you have people who have emigrated out, and then you have those people's descendants, and they may be first gen, second gen, so, but, and how Caribbean are you? How familiar, did your parent take you back every year, or have you only gone to Sandals once, with some girlfriend?
That's so sad.
All of those, right? But all of those experiences are valid. All of those identities are valid. Yeah. So I think what we do is help people, especially once you've immigrated out into diaspora or you're born in the diaspora, we help people connect in a way that they wouldn't just by or enhance their Caribbean-ness, even if they live in a super Caribbean neighborhood or, eat Caribbean, and their families like, they're super Caribbean when they're home, and then in the street, they're Canadian or whatever, So I think it's hugely important because then you get reminders, you get representation of the fullness, the richness of what Caribbean culture is, you know, it's not just Black, which I think like in the United States, especially, you get the image that the Caribbean is Black people on a beach, carnival, coconuts, reggae, right? Like, which is valid, but there's so much more, right? There's Chinese people, there's Syrians, you know, there's folklore, you know, there's Afrofuturism, you know, there's a lot going on that people aren't, if you're only consuming a mainstream cultural diet, you wouldn't get. So I think it's really important what we do so that I, as first generation daughter of Guyanese people living in Brooklyn, understand the deeper nuances of the culture that, you know, maybe my parents didn't share with me because, you know, they're just living their lives. They didn't maybe take the time to stop and explain what is a kwe kwe? What is that? What is, you know, or it never came up somehow. So now maybe there's a story to be told about that, and then I can learn in a different way. So I think it's huge. I think it's important, and I'm really proud to be a part of a group that does that.
That's so cool. Well, you guys have a whole catalog of movies, but give them okay. So first, I'm going to give a shout out to Rant and Rave.
Of course, big up the R&R people, them.
I mean, it's my podcast. I get to shout myself. But you did come for our arts and entertainment Rant and Rave, the third one that we did in a real life. And you showed a film and people were so engaged. Like it was quiet in that room. People were so engaged. They were so interested in seeing this. They were into the story. There are so many good stories that you guys have in your catalog. What would you say are some of your favorites? Because I want people to get a sense of just how varied these stories are. So what would you say are your favorites?
Yeah, that's a hard question to answer. I do remember that event, and I especially remember, I forget her name. She came up to me after and was like, I didn't know this was a thing. And I was like, yeah, girl. Because when I came on into the group, like, I don't know, 5 years ago, I didn't know it was a thing other than Dance Hall Queen, right? Or Shatas, right? I was like, premium film, what else is there? So over the years, being able to see it, I'm constantly, every year, I'm just like, I didn't know he was, like, I'm working with these folks and I'm still like, I didn't know folks are doing this. You know, like people are making movies on their phones, like they're doing what needs to be done to get stories told. So some of my favorites, that's very difficult to answer, but I'm gonna try. So I think one thing that you don't get a lot in mainstream film is that there are feature-length films, which is, you know, like the 1.5, 2-hour movies you get, and then there are short films. I think the average person doesn't see a lot of short films unless you're like into the indie scene. You know, these can be 10, 12, 15, 20-minute films that are still amazing despite their brevity. But of feature-length films, one of my favorites is God Loves the Fighter by Damien Marcano. He's a Trinity filmmaker.
I have to say he was Trinidadian. His last name was Marcano.
Well, I mean,
that's the last name of Trinidad.
But he's amazing. Like, I love this film because it's exciting. He has a style that is kind of, not quite, maybe I shouldn't say this, but it kind of sort of reminds me of, I don't know if people know who Guy Ritchie is. He did the Sherlock Holmes movies. He was married to Madonna. I
was just about to say, they're going to know he was married to Madonna.
Right, he was married to, but he did a whole slate of films that are kind of, it has a different feel, the way he directs and the cinematographers he uses. So Damien Marcano has a certain style that I really enjoy. And God Loves the Fighter is like, it's a thriller, exciting, and it follows, you know who stars in it? You know the Trinity group Freetown Collective?
Yeah.
Yes. So the Indian guy, he's not Indian, I think he's mixed. He stars in it. I want to say a certain word, but I was told that word is not.
It is not okay. It's offensive.
It's not okay.
I was told to.
I only learned that. I learned that in college, and it's still very difficult. But that
I learned that like 2 years ago. So anyway, go ahead.
I mean, it's a tangent, but I also know there's like a movement to like reclaim it, like the N-word. But anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. I just find that very interesting. Anyway, dude from Freetown Collective stars in it, and he's like this down and out guy who's like down to his last dollar, wants to do anything to make some money, and this beautiful girl who's like a streetwalker, and then they get into, I don't want to tell the story, but it's just exciting. It's well told. There's this narration through it that's just, and it's all told in Trini slang, patois, accents. It's Chinese people, there's Black people, there's mixed people. Like, it's just really well told. So I really, if you can find it, go find God Loves the Fighter by Damien Marcano. A more recent feature film that we showed last year, it started as a short. It's by Maya Cozier from Trinidad. It's called She Paradise, and it follows the story of a girl dance group. A girl who joins a dance group for to make some money during Carnival, and just their escapades and what that life is like. And you know how some people might be like, oh, dancers have that working amazing life. Well, it's actually like a job. It's hard scrabble. People are going through things. And it's very interesting, the story she tells about these women and what they go through to make their money and make their mark. I'm going to share some short films that I really like. There's one by a Jamaican filmmaker her name is Toni Blackford. It's called Cleaning House. You can see it on StudioNancy.tv, which is our streaming service. Get into it.
Yes, I saw that one. Go ahead. I'm not going to ruin it. Right?
I don't want to tell everything, but it's good. It's only like 15 minutes long, but it's exciting. You know, she's a house cleaner, and all I'm going to say is like the message she cleans up. Oh, right? Is she though? Is she really? The messes she cleans up are not your average spill. So it's only 15 minutes, but it's an exciting 15 minutes, a thrilling 15 minutes. I really suggest you guys get into Cleaning House. Big up my GT people them. I'm gonna go back a little bit. Gavin Ramutar is a director who did a film called Anti-Man, it's a very poignant film. Those who know, Anti-Man is a Guyanese slang for a gay man. And it follows a young boy who I guess is questioning, and he's kind of has a crush on a guy, and then his father's reaction and their relationship. And it's just it's very moving, very touching. And I thought a very sensitive way to approach what could be a very volatile topic in the Caribbean. And last but not least, Papa Machete, which is our executive director, or former executive director, Jason Jeffers and Keisha Ray Witherspoon, who are members of the collective, founders of the collective. They did this 10, 12-minute documentary in Haiti. It's about Haitian sword fighting, which I did not know was a thing. I'm not really that much into documentaries, but this was really moving. It was really interesting. I had never heard of Haitian sword fighting before, and there's like some secrecy to it. Now he hands it down to his kids, and it was a really good film. So again, another one you can see on StudioNancy.tv. Get into it. Those are a couple of my favorites. There's a bunch more, but those are like some of the top ones I really love to go back to.
Those are good ones. I've seen some of those. I'm going to see the other ones, but oh my gosh, the storytelling, the nuance, the details, the cinematography. Like, people tend to think if it's coming out of the Caribbean or maybe not, very wealthy studio, that it's probably going to be bad or the quality is going to be bad. It's not. And some of these will transport you back home. They really will. Just by looking at it, smelling, like you can almost smell the food through the movie.
I agree.
Yeah, but it's so important to have these. I remember when Bazodee came out with Machel. Yeah, we had the premiere at the PlayStation Theater, and people were laughing. People were like, "Oh my goodness, I know! Oh, look at this!" Like, you just get transported back home through these films. It's so.
And I want to make a note about that film. Like, so what I notice a lot is, and this happens in regular mainstream filmmaking as well, is like there's like the blockbusters, like I don't want to call it candy, but like films that anyone can consume, and then there's like indie, like different experimental, really like, so we have that as well, right? So I would classify Bazodee, because I know some people are like, inside, right?
It's a rom-com. It's not like unexpected things are gonna happen. Like, how this is gonna end.
So, but I feel like that, even having that, like how there's this conversation about what Tyler Perry does versus Spike Lee versus, auteurs versus, movie makers. And I think having that is important as well. Everyone can't be and shouldn't be telling these deep, important, moving stories that, shift the zeitgeist and what, we can't all be doing that. Some of us just want to have some fun, right? We just want to laugh. We just want to recognize ourselves on screen. So not to downplay Bazodee, I loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun. But just to say that sometimes people hear indie or different and they think, I just want to have fun for an hour and a half. I'm not trying to be hit over the head with all these social.
I don't want to be changed.
Right,
I just want to watch a movie.
Right. So there's plenty of that. I just want to make that clear. There's plenty of that. There's the lighthearted fare. There's comedies, there's actions, there's thrills, and then there's deep, emotional, moving things that will, you'll come out the theater. Oh my God. So we run the gamut. We run the gamut.
Nice. With so many stories, so many different types of stories. I mean, you mentioned Bazodee, you mentioned, just the different types of films. Do you think Hollywood is ready to see these kind of films, see these kind of characters? Or do you think they're ready for a fully Caribbean cast? Or do we have a long way to go before that's a thing?
No, I think they're ready. I feel like ready is like a weird word. Like, I think, is the audience ready, right, is one, right? So, and I think we've seen a rise in Black films, Black American films. We've seen a rise in Asian films. We're seeing a lot more representation in other communities that we don't normally see. And I think that speaks to maybe not readiness, but accessibility and people with power, right? Because what we do isn't only about telling stories in front of the screen, it's about getting people behind the screen too, right? Because you can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't got people in the boardrooms or with the power, who has a studio, who has this, has this power to be like, yes, we want to tell this story and we want to tell it this way with these people, then none of it matters. You're still only going to be speaking to a small amount of people. So yeah, I think accessibility, people in places of power to force the issue is more of a thing now than it was in the past. And so are they ready? Yeah. I mean, I don't think mainstream media is ever ready or super willing to give us space, but it's much more flexible and easier now than ever for us to be like, we here and we doing this thing, and you may not want to give us the money to do it, but over here they're going to give us the money and they're going to give us the space and the time to make it happen. We've seen it with other communities, and I think now, it's now our time to rise and dominate as well.
I love it. Yeah, and you're right. We have seen that with other movies. I think Megan Good was on a show and she was talking about the success of Girls Trip made it possible for other movies, other shows to happen, because all of a sudden Hollywood saw, oh wait, they are paying for this. They are going to go and see this. They are coming out in force. We need more of these. We've got to get more. Not everything's a hit, but the fact that there are more. And
you do see the one or two like Caribbean Friends. What was Spike Lee's thing that had the
She's Gotta Have It
girl, right? You're seeing more of that, or even if it isn't spoke to, like sometimes the grandmother has an accent and you're like, is she supposed to be from? Or that Yardi, that film that I think Idris Elba produced, like that was a big thing, and that was or Top Boy on Netflix, which everyone loves, and it's an English film, it's a Black British film, but the basis is, the background is a Caribbean family living in Britain. So yeah, I think it's totally there, and you're going to see more of us, and just stay tuned.
That's what's up. There was a movie, I think it's called Boxing Day, that was like that, where I was like, man, talk about the Caribbean not being a monolith. Like you had the fully integrated, you had the guy who's coming back home, you had like the girlfriend who's trying to understand the culture. Like definitely worth seeing. But I love it that there's more representation and there's more outlets now, right? You don't always have to wait for a big movie theater premiere and how's this going to do at the box office. This could come out on Amazon Prime, on Netflix. Like you have a lot more outlets where we could see ourselves, and I'm with it. Let's do it.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, the rise of streaming services is huge. We have our own Studio Anansi.tv. There's Quelly TV.
Don't say that so quickly. Studio Anansi.tv. We're going to put it in the show notes, but I want y'all to hear that like 5 times. For those who don't know what the Anansi is, tell them why the name is so important.
Anansi, I mean, I'm not gonna lie and say I didn't grow up with Anansi stories. My parents didn't tell them, but it is a thing. You know, Anansi was a spider, and I think it's a West African tale originally.
Yeah.
But of course, traveled to the Caribbean along with our enslaved ancestors. And Nancy's just a spider who's clever and quick-witted, and there's a million stories about how he, you know, gets away with things, or, you know, all his adventures. So that's what we named that. That's where the name for our service, our platform came from, StudioNancy.tv.
Nice. I love it. Yeah, we are going to drop it in the show notes, but I'm excited for this. And I'm going to go through, I mean, we are recording this on a Friday, so this is my weekend now. I'm going to sit on that couch right there and
pop some corn,
chill, and I'm going to watch some movies. But so normally this is the part where Soka says, so we'll say it, but I'm going to say it. It's time for us to rave.
Oh gosh.
It's time for us to rave. I'm excited. I'm so excited for the movies and the opportunities that we have, but I think it's time to rave.
Wait. I want to say one thing first. This is Friday, the 20-something, what is it?
22nd.
Today's Friday, 22nd. I need all y'all to come out, whoever in Brooklyn, I need all y'all to come out next week, Wednesday, the 27th, to BAM. Get your tickets now, please. And because this is our second screening, we have the Caribbean Film Series. We show 4 films at BAM a year. This is our second one. We're going to have a short film called Timon U from Guadeloupe, and which is about, I think, somebody drops a baby on the doorstep of this dude, and he's running around trying to figure out, is it mine? Where the mama? You know.
Every man's nightmare.
Right. It's by Guadeloupean director Nelson Foy, and he'll be in the house and doing a Q&A after, and then it'll be followed by a feature film called Right Near the Beach by Gibbray Allen, who's a Jamaican director, about the murder of a man in Jamaica and his father dealing with that and the rumors that surround his death. It's and he'll be in the house too, so there'll be a Q&A afterward with both of them, and so I need y'all to be down there. Afterward, we're gonna head over to 33 Lounge right across the street and chill and hang and drink and vibe and talk about the films and get to know each other. It's the whole thing. We don't just sit and watch movies. It's the whole thing. It's a family, it's a community. Come down.
It's a whole event. It's a whole experience. My goodness.
Girl. Anybody can watch a movie. Not everyone can just get into the vibe and learn and grow and chill. Come on.
You know, West Indians don't just
do
the one thing.
No. We extra.
You gotta do all the things. I love it. But I'm ready to rave. And today,
what we doing?
We are raving too. We spoke about Machel for Bazodee, so I figured it made sense to bring in a Machel tune, and of course the aptly named Showtime.
Double M, with the gal and them, bring the gal and them. Watch this. You gal over there, time to make a movie. Say you gal over there, let we make a movie. You gal over there, time to make a movie. Say you gal over there. 1, 2, 3, action. Bend over, Showtime. Bend over,
you got we got to rant, we got to rave, we got to have a good time. That's how we do this.
Right. It's
how
an
we do
experience,
this.
not just a conversation, it's an experience.
It's an experience. You got to give them a little something extra. Good shimmying though. They're gonna love that. For those of you who aren't watching this, I never get to see her shimmy.
Lies, the lies this girl tells. Besides,
well, usually when we're in the party, I'm not really looking at you.
Right. You're right. You can't appreciate all the movements because we're doing our own thing.
And you know me.
You saw the right shoulder. You saw that right shoulder go?
I saw that.
Working on that one.
On just the right shoulder.
Yeah. Left is cool. The right needed some work.
That's all right. Hopefully this summer we'll be able to get back into the groove of things. I mean, we are in New York. So.
I feel like Caribbean community here is done and over with the pandemic, and we'll be out in the streets.
That's what's up. I don't know that we were ever not out in the streets, even in the middle of the That's another Oprah show. But okay, guys, so we are wrapping it up, but I want them to know all the things, all the different ways that they could see these films, they could get involved with Third Horizon, they could find out what you guys are doing, upcoming events. You're doing things all over the planet. So guys, wherever you are, I'm sure you will be able to experience a Third Horizon event. But tell them how they can find you, and let's mention again your upcoming events.
Yes. So events upcoming next Wednesday, the April 27th is at BAM. It's our Caribbean Film second of 4 Caribbean film series. So get your tickets. We're seeing 2 films, a short and a feature, Team on Awe and Right by the Beach. There will be Q&A with the directors after. You can get your tickets on bam.org. They still have some really strict COVID protocols in place, so make notes, cause no drama when you get to the door. Next up is our Third Horizon Film Festival, which is this June 23rd to the 26th in Miami. Please, if you're in the area, if you can come down, trust you want to do this. You want to be there in person. But if you can't, out of the country, when you can't make it, there is a hybrid pass that you can buy, and so you can experience everything from the comfort of your own home. So go to thirdhorizonfilmfestival.com.
Tell them how to spell third, because they're going to put in the I.
Third, THIRD, Horizon, HORIZON, film, FILM, festival, FESTIVAL.com.
It's not Flim.
I was about to say, it's not Third Horizon Film Festival. You may say it like that, but it's not really that, all right? It's film festival. And there you can get tickets in person, online, and there's also a supporter pass. So if you want to just donate, there's an option. You want to help contribute to because these aren't the only 2 things we do. So we have a festival in Guyana as well. We do a pop-up in LA. There's a bunch of other things. There's some smaller things happening in Miami and in the Caribbean as well. We've got a bunch of things on our plate. So you can also, what do I want to say? You can also subscribe to our newsletter to get an update on everything. So go on the website, subscribe, buy your pass, check us out on social. Maybe you prefer social. We're on Instagram as Third Horizon, THRD. Just search it, you'll find us. Third Horizon on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, Third Horizon Film Festival. I'm sure Deanna will put all this info in the notes.
All of it.
Check it out, get on board. This plane is moving fast. We're doing things. You want to be a part of that in whatever fashion, as a supporter, as a viewer. You want to get on board with the crew. We have educational platforms helping emerging filmmakers. Maybe that's USDs. Reach out. We'll love to work with you.
Nice. You're doing all the things.
Well, just a little something. I mean, like I said, we're Caribbean.
I love it. We need it. You got Hollywood, Nollywood, Bollywood. We need to come up with something for the Caribbean. We can't be Collywood.
Man, no.
We're gonna work on that.
we'll workshop a few
Not
names.
West Indian wood. No, no.
That
no.
sounds wrong, actually.
Do not Google that.
That sounds like something completely different. Just, we're gonna edit that out.
Catch that. That's not gonna be what it's called. But it's good that we have our own group of people who are creating these films. We have a distribution, we have studios, and I love the work that you guys do. I love the events. I'm gonna be at BAM. I will see you all there. You know, I'm gonna have to figure out what mask to wear because I like to have like a special mask for everything. So now I gotta get my film viewing mask.
We're gonna work on that. I'm gonna
work on that. I'm gonna work on that. But guys, thank you so much for tuning into the Rant and Rave podcast. Make sure you are following us. I know she's not here, but follow Soka Say So. Follow Soka Say So on all social
big up
media.
this trend.
Yes, follow her on all social media or go to sokasayso.com. Follow DysChick on all social media or go to dyschick.com. Subscribe to my newsletter too. Like, you're going to be up to date with everything that I'm doing and all my thoughts on things. And I'm also going to put a special preview of our video podcast every week. The only way to see it ahead of time is to subscribe to my newsletter. Yeah. And then make sure you are following BK Rant and Rave on all social media or go to bkrantandrave.com. Subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, on Apple, and on YouTube. I love it.
Love it.
Okay, bye.